If you're moving to Rochester for the Mayo Clinic and your realtor doesn't even know what match day is, or physician loans, or even the difference between residency and fellowship, well, you may have hired the wrong person. And here's the thing, physician relocations aren't like traditional relocations. As you know, you're not just changing addresses, you're changing hospitals, schedules, careers, schools, support systems, and sometimes even countries. The stakes are higher, the timelines are shorter, and the margin for error is much smaller. So if you're a physician, resident, fellow, dentist, surgeon, or medical professional considering a move to Rochester, Minnesota, this video could save you time, money, and a lot of unnecessary stress. But before we jump in, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications, because every week we share videos about moving to Rochester, Minnesota, physician relocation, living near the Mayo Clinic, and everything you need to know about southeastern Minnesota. And if you're planning to move to Rochester, please drop your questions in the comments below, because I answer every single one of them. Hi, I'm Kelly Domaille with Domaille Real Estate at eXp Realty, and helping physicians relocate to Rochester is one of the things that we do best. Over the years, we've helped residents, fellows, attending physicians, dentists, and medical professionals from all over the United States and around the world make Rochester their home. And today I want to explain why working with a Rochester relocation specialist really matters more than most people realize. Now, the first thing that you need to understand is that physicians move differently than almost everyone else. Most buyers have months to prepare for a move. Physicians, not so much. Match day happens. Contracts get signed, start dates are established, and suddenly you're trying to figure out where you're going to live while simultaneously finishing up your residency or wrapping up a fellowship or preparing to start a demanding new position at the Mayo Clinic or Olmsted Medical. We've worked with physicians who had less than 30 days to find a home, and we worked with others who are trying to buy a home from another state while managing overnight call schedules. So your time is limited and every hour matters. Physicians also tend to ask different sets of questions than traditional buyers. They want to know how far a neighborhood is from the St. Mary's Hospital or the Gonda building downtown. They want to know their commute times during the winter. They ask about schools, physician loan programs, daycare options, and whether a neighborhood makes sense for a 3-year fellowship versus a 20-year career. They aren't simply buying a house, they're trying to build a life around an incredibly demanding profession. That's why having someone who understands physician relocation can really make all the difference. One of the biggest mistakes that physicians make is assuming any realtor can help them relocate. Could they? Sure. But should they? That's a different question. And if your realtor doesn't understand physician contracts, physician loan programs, match day timelines, or the unique pressures of just working in medicine, you're going to spend a lot of time educating your realtor instead of having your agent educate you. Now, the reality is that physician relocation is a niche, and like any specialty, experience matters. So let's talk about physician loans, because this is one area where working with a relocation specialist can save you thousands of dollars. Many physicians don't realize that they may qualify for physician loan programs that offer little to no down payment, they don't require private mortgage insurance, and they don't use student loan debt against you. That's a big deal, especially if you spent years accumulating student loans while trying to build your career. We regularly connect physicians with lenders who understand the medical profession and can explain all of the available options. That's not something that you want to discover after you've already made an offer on a house. So if you're planning to move to Rochester, Minnesota, don't forget to download our free Rochester relocation guide. You can just scan the QR code on your screen or click the link in the comments below. So we have created this guide specifically for people moving to Rochester, Byron, and the surrounding southeastern Minnesota communities, and it's packed with information about neighborhoods, schools, commuting, and what you can expect before you arrive. Now, another reason physician relocation specialists matter is because we know where physicians tend to live, and more importantly, why. Some physicians prefer historic Southwest Rochester because not only of its charm, but its proximity to downtown. Others love the newer homes and the larger lots, maybe out in Byron. And families often gravitate towards communities with higher rated schools and a more strong sense of neighborhood connection. Some physicians want to be less than 10 minutes from the Mayo Clinic, while others are perfectly comfortable with a 20-minute commute if it means a little bit more space and a quieter lifestyle. There isn't one perfect neighborhood for every physician. There's only the neighborhood that's right for you and your family. Now let's take a quick look at some of the communities that physicians ask us about most often. Historic Southwest Rochester remains super popular because of its character and its convenience to the Mayo campuses. Northwest Rochester offers newer developments, but still easy access to shopping and restaurants. Byron continues to attract physician families because of its schools and its community feel. And neighborhoods like the Summerby Golf Community and Montgomery Meadows in Byron give you that luxury touch. Now, Stewartville and Casson are great options for buyers looking for just a little bit more space without giving up that quick access to Rochester. Every community has its strengths, and understanding those differences is one of the most valuable parts of working with a local relocation expert. Now, one question we hear all the time is, should we rent first or buy immediately? And the answer really depends on your situation. If you're here for just a one-year fellowship, renting may make perfect sense. But if you're planning to stay for several years or you've accepted a long-term position with the clinic or Olmsted, buying can often be a smarter financial decision. Here's why. Let's look at renting for around $2,000 a month, pretty typical. That's $24,000 a year in rent. Now you stay for 3 years, you've spent $72,000, and when you move out, you don't get any of that money back. While homeownership comes with its own costs, it also gives you the opportunity to build equity and potentially benefit from appreciation. Even if you sold that home 3 years later for the exact same price you bought it for, you're likely not going to lose that same $72,000 that you paid in rent. That's why we spend so much time learning about your goals before we ever look at houses. The right answer for a resident isn't always the right answer for an attending physician, and the right answer for a family of 5 isn't the same as if it's for someone moving here just on their own. We're going to help you figure out which path makes the most sense for your situation. Now, here's something else that surprises a lot of physicians. Rochester is much more than the Mayo Clinic. Now, Mayo is certainly the heartbeat of our community, but Rochester is also filled with parks, restaurants, community events, and opportunities to connect with people outside of medicine. One of the biggest concerns we hear from relocating physicians is, will we have a life outside of work? And the answer is yes. In fact, it's one of the reasons so many people stay long after they thought they would leave. Rochester has a way of becoming home even when you least expect it. There was a physician family that we helped relocate from California, and they taught us an important lesson about physician relocation. They initially planned to rent for a year before deciding where they wanted to settle down. And after spending one weekend exploring Rochester, Byron, and southeastern Minnesota, they changed their minds. They fell in love with the sense of community, the shorter commute times, and the fact that their children could ride their bikes throughout the neighborhood. And a few months later, they closed on a home in Byron. Now, last year, they told us they couldn't even imagine raising their family anywhere else. And that's one of my favorite parts of this job, is just helping people realize that they're not just moving for work, they're moving toward a better quality of life. And speaking of quality of life, please don't forget to download our Rochester Relocation Guide if you're planning a move right here to southeastern Minnesota. Just scan the QR code on the screen, or you can use the link in the comments below. And we've included information about the Mayo Clinic, physician relocation, neighborhoods, schools, and many of the questions that we hear from medical professionals every week. Now, one thing people don't talk enough about is the emotional side of physician relocation. Medicine can be demanding. You're leaving colleagues, mentors, and sometimes family members behind. And if you have children, they're changing schools and having to make new friends. And if your spouse works remotely or is now going to have to search for a new career opportunity, they're going through all this transition too. Relocation isn't just about moving boxes. It's about helping an entire family adjust to a new chapter in their lives. And that's why we spend as much time talking about lifestyle as we do about actual real estate. And at the end of the day, physician relocation is about more than finding a home. It's about finding confidence in your decision. You'll need someone who understands the local market, the unique challenges that physicians face, and the communities that will support the lifestyle that you're trying to create. You need someone who can answer questions before you even think to ask them. And most importantly is that you need someone who understands that your time is valuable and your move matters. If you're moving to Rochester for the Mayo Clinic, Olmsted Medical Center, or anywhere else in southeastern Minnesota, we'd love the opportunity to help. Physician relocation is one of our specialties, and we'd be honored to help make your transition as smooth and stress-free as possible. But before you go, I'd love for you to do 3 quick things. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and tell me in the comments, if you're relocating to Rochester, what's your biggest concern about the move? We're here to help. I'm Kelly Domaille with Domaille Real Estate at eXp Realty. We love where we live, and we want you to love where you live too. So thanks for watching, and we'll definitely see you in the next video.